this is Jim Beanz. You're checking out IGotSoul.com.
First off, can you just talk to me about how you originally linked up with Timbaland?
I was working with an artist years ago, and this was around the time when Timbaland had the song Indian Flute.
Yep.
It's an Indian artist, and what happened was something went down with this, I guess whatever artist that he had. It was an Indian artist, and he ended up somehow hearing the song that I had done on the Indian artist I was working with.
Yep.
So Tim flew me down to come and meet him because he loved, I guess, the vocal production and production on the project that I was working on. And when I got down to Miami, that was around Blue South.
Yeah.
And he kind of just threw me right in the project to see what I could bring to the table. So that was the start of my working with Timbaland.
Okay. And can you talk to me about your role as a vocal producer? Because I don't think everyone really appreciates, what it is that you really do. So can you just kind of take me through what you actually do as a vocal producer?
Well, I'm sort of like the one who does all of the weird sounds that aren't necessarily samples. As far as what I do, beyond me sort of like using my voice as like an instrument, you know what I mean? I do the same thing for other artists. Basically, the direction that their vocals go into a record, I'm sort of like the one who kind of molds the artist into the track, if you'll say. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay, cool. And then, you mentioned that one of the projects you were heavily involved with earlier on is Nelly Furtado's Loose project. What do you remember most about working on that album?
But it was we had very left side of the brain ideas. Like, we just did anything that came to mind. It was a real, we did it, basically that because it was my first time working with him, and I kind of had I had to show off my talent. It was sort of like, I was allowed to go in and just do the most craziest stuff. Like, I did everything from opera to chant, just weird, the most weird abstract types of things you could think to use with your vocals. That's what I did,
Okay. And then, you were signed to Timbaland as a vocal producer, but now you're known, for your writing and production. So how did you get your talents to be, noticed?
Well, beginning when I first came to the table, Tim sort of like, the first thing that he noticed about me was the vocal production, but he didn't know that I produced. The songs, over the years, I would come to Tim and I would just play him tracks and stuff that I worked on, and he was like, man, you dope. So one of the first songs that I actually produced was Timbaland, was on the Jennifer Hudson album, and it was a song called Pocketbook.
Yep.
And it was from that time on or whatever that, I was sort of like looked at as not only a vocal producer, but also a writer and a producer as well. After that came If We Ever Meet Again, a song that was on Shock Value 2 that was featuring Timbaland and Katy Perry.
Yep.
Yeah, and since then I sort of like it's been, showing people not only am I a vocal producer, but I'm also a producer and writer as well.
Yeah. And can you kind of take me through your writing process? Especially when you're writing over a Timbaland or a Danger beat, because their production is very unorthodox.
Yeah, definitely. It's actually it is unorthodox, and what's great about it is that you get to think outside of the box as far as your creativity. You know what I mean? You can't have a song that has so many abstract sounds in it and kind of come normal. You know what I mean? You have it's not easy. Yep. Not everybody can do it, but you know what I mean? The greats are the ones that can make the craziest beats come to life. You know what I mean? With words, with ideas. And a lot of time it can come from just like one sound that I hear in like a Timbaland or a Danger track, or even in my own track, and I sort of like kind of go off on a tangent and write from there.
Yeah. Cool. And I want to ask you about a couple of the songs that you've done throughout the years, and if you could, just give me any background information about it, or just anything you remember about working on the songs.
Okay, sure.
The first one is Danity Kane's Right Now.
Oh wow, that was the first song that I wrote with Danny D. Kane. This is before I did work on a Dollhouse album. But right now, that was sort of like my first time kind of working with all of the girls and showing that I had the ability to take 5 different females and make them sound like they really fit in a group together. That's not easy.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times you hear songs and it has a group of 3 or 4 people and they won't let everybody sing. And that's because somebody will stick out like a sore thumb or it just doesn't mesh well, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it was after that experience that the girls actually, they were the ones that made the call for me to work on their next album, all because of the work that I did on that song, the writing and the vocal production I did on Right Now.
Yeah, definitely. And then another one that I have for you is Carrie Hilson's Slow Dance.
We recorded that in Virginia at Timbaland Studio. That was a great song. That was one of my first songs that I actually worked on with Carrie Hilson, and it was a great experience. Let's see what else was there. Oh, and also the beatbox breakdown at the end. That was my first time actually doing beatbox on a record for the bridge of Slow Dance.
You know, could you kind of talk to me about Day 26, Made Love Lately? Because I know you produced that song.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Made Love Lately was a song that was written and produced by me. That was the first time since Day 26 last album that I actually got a chance to work on with them. It kind of came out of the blue. That was a song that it was written years back actually.
Okay.
But I ended up in contact with one of the 2 of the members of the group, Brian and Will, and I told them that I think I had a song that basically right now I don't feel like nobody would have been able to pull off as far as a male group, you know, or any males that could really deliver the vocals on that. I kind of like was going for a Jodeci sort of like feel.
Yeah.
And to me, their sonic as far as vocally really is reminiscent of a new age Jodeci.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, they were down to do it. I flew out of Miami. We actually did it at Simple House in Miami. It was a great experience, and they smashed that record. It's one of my favorite songs I think I've ever produced.
Yeah, definitely. And then the last one I want to ask you about is Jojo's new single, Sexy to Me. Can you kind of talk to me about that one?
No doubt. Sexy to Me was produced by Danger.
Yeah.
Me and Danger have been working. Actually, I met Danger first through Timbaland, and over the years, you know, besides Britney Spears and we did a lot of stuff together. Britney Spears and Catherine McPhee. I've been working with Danger for at least about 8 years, 8, 9 years, and I ended up getting a phone call from Danger, and he told me he was going in with Jojo, and he wanted me to work on writing and the top line for the project. And Sexy to Me sort of like came out of, he just put on this crazy track. And Sexy to Me, it's sort of like it's a flirty record. What I really tried to do is make sure that Jojo kills vocally. Her vocals are like slamming on that record. I mean, the girl's running and ripping, and she's a very talented artist. And I'm blessed to have had the chance to work with her and Danger on it.
Yeah, and I know you've also done a lot of work with Jojo on her upcoming project, so what can you kind of tell us about the work that you've done with her, and are there any songs that you feel stand out right at this point?
Man, you know what? Me and Jojo did about 6 to 7 songs together for her project. I don't know which one stuck, but what I will say is that she's an amazing singer, and each song that we did really showcases her vocal capability. We had fun doing it. We actually, it was recorded in Los Angeles. The majority of the stuff that I did with her.
Okay.
And it's going to be real crazy. It's definitely JoJo's vocals, but she's grown. She's matured as a young woman now, and so a lot of the songs are a little bit more. They're a little bit more. I won't say risque, but I'll say sort of like a more mature way of thinking. As far as, when she first came out, she was so young.
Yeah.
And it's like now she really wanted to showcase that she's older now. She's not a girl anymore, and that she's on to the next phase of her life. You know what I'm saying? So they're really, really dope. A lot of people are going to be shocked with a few of the lyrics here and there that she says, but it really showcases her vocal capability and where she is as an artist.
Yeah. Okay, definitely. And then another project I know that you're working on is the new Shock Value 3 album. Can you kind of talk to me a little bit about that and the overall sound that you guys are going for this time around?
Oh, yeah. Tim is always creating. Like, Tim could never do the same thing twice. One thing about Timbaland, and it's one of the things that he told me, even as far as what work that I've done, never repeat yourself, because people begin to lose faith that you can actually grow, whether it be as a producer or a vocal producer or as an artist, whatever it is. So I'll say, as far as Shock Value 3, I collabed so far with, I did some stuff with Tim, I worked with Missy Elliott, I've done some stuff, even the joint that had Pharrell on it, I actually did some stuff on it, so it's going to be really crazy. He has a large roster of artists that's going to be on it, and I think it's going to be really, really dope. And the music is definitely, it's different than the things that you're hearing out. That's what's out on radio right now. That's one thing that Timbaland always he's known for, giving you music that is new and fresh ideas and different ways to view sounds.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the things I noticed with the Shock Value 2 album was that, there wasn't a lot of R&B on that album. Do you think on this one there's going to be a little more of that?
This one has a little bit of everything mixed in it. He has a few R&B artists on it. He has a few pop artists on it. He definitely has some hip-hop artists on it. So this is definitely going to be a mixture of everything. I don't know exactly which songs are going to be the ones that make the final cut.
Yeah.
But Tim has recorded roughly maybe 1,000 songs he's going to actually basically pick through when the time comes. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up doing a double CD or something. That man has so many songs in his vault that is just amazing.
Wow.
So,
that's crazy. And who are you currently working with right now?
Well, I just came down from working with Justin Bieber with Timbaland. Right now I'm working on some stuff with an artist overseas by the name of Cheryl Cole. She signed to Will I Am.
Yeah.
That's going to be really dope. I've been doing some work with Jason Derulo for his new project. And there's a lot of stuff going on. A few artists that are up and coming too. And I also have an artist of my own by the name of Chase Landon. He's actually going to be sick. He's really good.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. And just curious, because I read that Timbaland was working with Brandy. I'm wondering if you're involved with that.
Yeah, he's supposed to be going in with her soon. Brandy's been wanting me to get in again with her for a while now. I haven't had a chance to because of our schedules.
Yep.
But the last stuff, as far as I know right now, she's going to be going in with Tim soon, and then when I get the call, I'll probably end up flying down to Miami for the session.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, as it hasn't happened yet.
Oh, okay, cool. And that's all that I had for you. Is there anything that you'd like to add?
Yeah, I would just say if you can have people follow me at Beanz. It's spelled Beanz 3 times.
Okay.
On Twitter, and just be on the lookout for Chase Landon. That's going to be a really cool project. And I have one more thing to tell you.
Okay.
Oh yeah, tell people, you know what I mean, if they see me say anything crazy on Twitter, don't take me literally, I'm just crazy.
Okay.
Because I be saying some wild stuff, and I don't mean none of it. I just be like bored sometimes, and I have to get it out. Otherwise, it'll end up in a song, and then it'll sound terrible.
Okay. Fair enough.